Right, Tony Mepham is here for the football. Tony, plenty of goals in the Friends Providence International FA Cup today. Starting off with Colby 0, St George's 8. We thought Geordies would win, and they did. It's simple as that, really, eh?
Yeah, similar score to last week as well. And I think, on this one, it was 4-0 at half-time, and people saying, you think it'd be a lot more and that, but St George's were missing a few players today, and you can see one of the goal scorers given opportunities. A great player and great to see him back. But today, Furo Davies got 3, Frank Jones got 1, Chris Bass, Jack McVeigh, Joe Quayle, and Johnny Quirk. Nice to see him back on the island. And St George's been able to give a couple of younger players a game, and they've not let them down. Joe Quayle's proven to be a real promising footballer. He's in the senior Ireland squad training as well, and Johnny Quirk as well. So yeah, brilliant. But I think, as you say, plenty of goals and expected as well. When we did the draw, I thought, there's a few mismatches here, and that's the way it's proved today with some high scoring games.
Just a text in from Dicko to say an outstanding performance on a very difficult pitch today by Joel Ibanez for St George's. Great to see young lads fitting into the first team. And Colby goalkeeper made a couple of mistakes, but once again made some outstanding saves and never stopped trying. So according to Dicko, 2 players for the future.
Yeah, Adam Kinvig, definitely. Watched him training on Wednesday for the senior Ireland team. Just brought him in. It's great. He's only just 16. But, when you've got Paul O'Brien, David Cherry there, and then you've got Grant Dawson, you've got other goalkeepers there who can only learn off. I think it's great to see, because that's one thing I think clubs struggle at, is being able to find, coaching sessions and improvement sessions to bring goalkeepers on. So, yeah, really nice to see.
OK, next match, Douglas Athletic 6, Douglas Royal 0.
Yeah, my apologies on this one, because at lunchtime I did say that Douglas Royal go for it. And I was just going on form, because Douglas Royal had improved. And I watched Douglas Athletic a few weeks ago against St Mary's, and they were woeful, to be fair. But today put it all right, because within 7-8 minutes they were 2-0 up. Martin Cowan with both goals, and going really well. Daniel Pennington with a super goal from a free kick. The wall there, I thought he was going to go goalkeeper's top right, but he went the goalkeeper's low left, and finished that off. And then Martin Cowan with probably a little bit of a fluky goal, because the ball was crossed in well by Pennington, and he went to head it, came down, and even though he was lying on the deck, he managed to swivel and crack it in with his left foot to make it 4-0 at half time.
Showing good awareness, I would say.
Good awareness, Tony. Yeah, we'll have that. But the other 2 he'd done well on. But then Mikey Callister got 1, and Conor Dowell got 1 in the penalty area to make it 6. And Douglas Royal will just look at it and think it wasn't our day today, but fair play to Douglas Athletic. They played really well. First half they're exceptional. Second half they'd done the job, so it didn't matter. It's a cup game, and good performance. And I think everybody that watched that first half enjoyed it.
And they did that damage early as well. They flew out the blocks, didn't they? I couldn't believe it coming through on Twitter. It was, I think, 2 within the first, was it 8 minutes or something like that?
That's right.
Said,
yeah, we were getting the kit ready, and I think the first one was within 3 minutes, of the second one was 7-8 minutes. Martin Cowan, as I touched on at lunchtime, I'm not trying to defend myself now, but he's a big, tall, 6'3", 6'4" player, and you've got to use him. And it was good to watch. Conor Dowell, he's a good footballer. Mikey Callister as well. And when you've got a bit of a free kick specialist in Daniel Pennington, you have to use that. And that's what they did today against St Mary's. It didn't happen. And I know 1 or 2 of them said to me, "Do you enjoy that game?" And I said, "No, not really." He said, "No, you can't if it's only one side that's playing," and that was St Mary's. So, no, Douglas Athletic got it right. And it's Douglas Royals brought them down a little bit, because they went into this game full of confidence.
Now, this, to be honest, given the rather one-sided nature of the rest of the games today, I think this was probably the pick of the ties, wasn't it, in the end? Jim's 3, Castletown 3. It was 2-2 at half-time. It was 3-3 after extra time. Town win 4-2 on pens. And you were saying at lunchtime, there's that big gap between them in the league. But obviously, either Jim's brought their A game today, or Castletown weren't up to scratch, or a combination of the two, maybe.
I think you might be right in that Jim stepped up a gear, and Castletown possibly went down a gear, because the information I got through was it was Jim's 2, Castletown 2 after normal time, and then after extra time it was 3-3. Castletown won on penalties. Jim's were 3-2 up near the end. And it was a great effort by Jim's, but a nice touch good luck to Castletown. This has come from Jim's in the next round. And thanks again for letting them use their pitch, because this game was switched to Castletown. So credit to Castletown there. They had to work hard for it, but they got it. The goals in normal time, we haven't got the penalty scorers, but Adam Johnson, Ross Crawford and Nick Clegg got the goals for Jim's. As well with Castletown, it was Jamie Cadwallader, Kieran Brown and Joel Callow. So a real battle on. I thought we were going to get a shock, but Castletown managed to hold their nerve and win it on penalties.
You just mentioned the pitch there. Now, it was good of Castletown to switch it, but I was speaking to Dickie Gale of Colby, who, when he phoned the results through, he says the Colby pitches, unfortunately, again today, have taken an absolute hammering. One of them hadn't been used since the start of the season and has ended up in a pretty bad state, as has the main one as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of accusations have gone on throughout the day with grounds, because it's the clubs who control, really, the calling off of the games. And certainly today, Douglas Athletics, it cut up a little bit, but it held together all right. I walked Paul Rose's pitch in the top part away from the clubhouse. Wasn't too bad. It was a little bit tacky, but the bottom part towards the road, towards the clubhouse end, was really slippy, and that would have caved up, not a problem. And when you look at pitches like St George's last week, it's absolute nightmare, and they're going to have to try and sort that out. Russians has never been in the state that it is now for a long time, many years. And when you look at arguably two of the better drainage pitches in Ballafletcher, Corinthians and Douglas Royal, there's just no way. Ours is the worst. We've only had it since 2011. We can't get anything on it to deal with it, and it's a real struggle, and clubs have taken chances. They're chewing up. And Geordies, we'll see if we can get a game on there next week, but there's a fair bit of work to sort that out.
Yeah, I think Dickie said that what really hampered them today was there was a big downpour about 10 minutes before kick-off. So by that stage, everyone's there, everyone's ready, out changed, good to go, pitch has been passed. You get a heavy 10 minutes like that, it's like, well, what do? You got to go ahead, really, haven't you? And then, unfortunately, suffer the consequences of that.
It is, but, maybe I'm hoping, praying, by the end of February that the weather will improve, because it does. Once it starts to dry up, then there is no problem. But we're going to have a colossal amount of football when you look at the Island game coming up. When you think of it, we're only, I think it's the first week in April, so we're not far away from the start of the Hospital Cup and the Junior Cup. A lot of league games to play. We're going to try and squeeze some in, and we're going to maybe try and squeeze an FA Cup game in on Tuesday under floodlights as well of next week. But from what I'm hearing, there's snow coming in Tuesday, Wednesday, and the forecast is not looking good. So I could do with another bowl, really, and that would be nice. And split the times and get it on, because that's what Gibraltar do. Gibraltar have only got one pitch, and their whole football programme is played on that one pitch. They all have different kick-off times, and they all play different days. So maybe we need to look at that at the bowl.
Well, we've got the bowl and Bemma so if you divvy it up between the two of them, then, and people are prepared to pay the fees that are required, then maybe.
Yeah, the bowl's a little bit easier to manage, because there's curfews on the lighting times at Bemma, and also it's a school. So, the school have got to use it, and they've got to staff it. As we're down at the bowl, it's a little bit easier, and great staff in both pitches, which is they help us so much. It's great, but it would have been nice to have another game on tonight at 5 o'clock. But people make arrangements to go out, and unfortunately, it couldn't be staffed.
Okay, we've just had a text in telling us the town penalty scorers: Ash Sansbury, Jamie Cadwallader, Connor Garrett and Ross Mulligan, aka Mingo. Could you not use Bemma as a sub pitch? Well, as we've just mentioned there, the issues there, and Castletown missing 3 first team regulars today.
Yeah.
Who apparently, well, according to the text anyway, should be ashamed of themselves. Just passing on the message there.
Right,
That's
okay.
all it says. St Mary's 7, Ayr United 0 is the final Friends Providence International FA Cup game that we have not spoken about today. And, it was down to 2 men, this victory. And the evergreen goal machine that is Stephen Priestnell, 4 today for him.
Yeah, he's absolute class. Just the way he finishes. And I don't know what age Steve is now, 34 or whatever. But just to watch him, you'd pay the cheek of the man. But it's not necessarily the cheek, it's the skill that he has to finish. And Ayr United's goalkeeper, he's a young lad, so he'll learn from it. But Stevie Priestler with 4 today, and Jordan Cooper as well with 3. Nathan Halsall, again, good performance by him, supplying the ball through. Speedy recovery to Ayres player who got injured. Ambulance came down, took him away. I think it seems to be ligaments. So we wish him well. But no, St Mary's was class, and Alex Harrison was on the sideline, so they were missing one of their top players. Really good performance, and I just wonder if St Mary's here just fancy a bit of a cup run. It's looking that way.
I think from what I read online, his third goal, Stephen's third goal, was a nice curled effort from the edge of the area, and the final one was a chip from...
Yeah, the chip was cheeky.
Well.
That was cheeky. That was an insult. But
it's having the not just having the audacity to do it, but like you say, the skill to pull it off as well.
The technique, and he's got it, and the lift, everything, and he knows what he's going to do before he sort of strikes it. I know it sounds a bit funny, but you just think this is going to happen, and it does happen because he's one of those few players on the Isle of Man who can do that sort of thing. And I hope he stays in Manx football for a long, long time, because I know quite a few sort of good players who now sons are coming through will go down and watch Steve play and just watch where he is. He just hides, and then suddenly pops up and he'll score a hat-trick, and then today he scored 4.
Question for you here, Tony. Why was Pulley's game not played on the lower pitch in Spring Valley instead of Onchan Combi? FA Cup is more important.
You can do, but it's one of these situations where do you cancel someone else's football to let someone else on? It's very difficult. Onchan booked that pitch midweek, and you can't just suddenly turn around to Onchan and say, do one. I looked at Pulrose's pitch today. Top half was okay, bottom half was a little bit wet. You can't take a chance to split it up, but people are coming up with all these scenarios and everything. Why can't we use the bowl at 5 o'clock tonight? The bowl couldn't be staffed. There's just all sorts. At the end of the day, Pulley's pitch wasn't fit, and that's why the game wasn't played.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Moving into JCK Division 2 then. A couple of matches went ahead here. The basement battle between Governors Athletic and Michael United. It finished 2-2, and... Governors remain bottom of the table with 5 points from 17 games, just a point behind Jims now. But crucially for Michael United, that's drawn them level with games with Jims, but pulled them a point ahead. So, good news for them at least. Yeah,
it's good news, and it was a real tight game because it was 0-0 at half-time. And Daniel Thirlwell's an excellent player, scored 2, and then the other side of him, he was sent off after the final whistle, so they're going to miss out on him. Brian Kelly was also sent off for a foul for the penalty.
Professional foul, according to Hattie, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. But for Michael, Kieran Quinn got the first, I think it was, and Ryan Brew got a penalty as well. So good close game, which is nice to see for Governors Athletic anyway, because they do take a lot of goals coming in, and Michael, another good performance by them, 2 in 2 weeks.
Okay, thanks, Tony. We'll carry on with the combi shortly, but we'll just take a little break first. Right, I hold my hands up and at the same time smack myself on the wrist here, Tony, and offer profound apologies to people out there because I've been getting ahead of myself and I've missed a couple of games. I'm trying to do too many things at once here, updating leagues and checking out texts and whatnot. So we'll go back to the FA Cup because I forgot to mention Peel against Ramsey Youth Centre. This was a funny game. I was following this online because Peel are very good with their updates on Twitter. Yep. They scored almost instantly and you're thinking, oh, here we go, here's another one. And then it was 1-0 at half-time and it was 1-0 until about the 60th minute or something like that, and then the floodgates opened.
Great performance by Peel in the end, but well done to Ramsey Youth Centre because Sean Kelly with 2 goals. Lee Gale, we're getting a little bit of information coming through that there could be an own goal involved in this as well, so I'll trust Colin Moore impeccably. So if Colin says to me it's a hat-trick, it's a hat-trick, and that's what he said, so we're going to go for that. So any arguments, fire it all the way to Colin's house. But Lee with a couple of goals, and it was just one of those. It looked like the third one was palmed in by the goalkeeper, but if he's trying to save it, then whatever. But we'll let them sort it out. But a good performance in the end for Peel. We're going to do the draw next week because we've still got 3 games to sort out, but Peel are safely through after a little bit of a sticky start.
Referring that one to the dubious goals panel, are we?
Yes. I don't know who they are, but deal with it.
And I missed this one in JCK Division 2 again. Very sorry about that. Union Mills 0, Foxdale 5. Now, this is a good result for Foxdale because this puts them... They've played far fewer games than the teams above them. They've now leapfrogged Malou on goal difference, so they've played 12 games, 28 points. Malou have played 16 for 28 points. And Foxdale are now sitting just 3 points behind Marown and Ramsey Youth Centre. They've played 2 games fewer than Marown and 3 fewer than Youthy. So they're still just kind of looking dangerous there, aren't they? Loitering, I think.
And I think it's all coming together because of the return of Jay Chatwood, because I think he's been injured. He's missed quite a few games of late. And him and Charlie Harrison had a great partnership today, 2 apiece for them too. Matthew Moffat got 1 as well. So good finish for them in the end, good result. Union Mills are an awkward team to beat, even though they were next to each other in the league. There's a massive point difference up until today of 9 points. So, yeah, good result for them. Keeps them in touch at the top of the table with the other teams, and they've just got that consistency of fixtures to get in. And if they get those points in, then I can see Foxdale doing very well.
Yeah, if winning, I mean, it's always, ifs and buts, but winning the games in hand can put them right up there in contention for the top of the table, never mind promotion. So
That's right.
It could get even tighter at the top of JCK Division 2.
Yep.
Let's look at the combination as well. We've got a bit more time this evening because we're not able to catch up with Dave Christian with the rugby. He is actually at France against Ireland in Paris, so we've got a bit more time this evening, so we'll go through some of the combi in a little bit more detail. Big result for Douglas Royal today. They beat Colby 7-1 in the only game to go ahead in Canada Life Combination 1. Colby, the basement side, with 3 points. Douglas Royal were in 10th. That will now... they'll still be in 10th after that victory. The goal difference is quite poor compared to St Mary's. It's improved today, obviously, so they're equal on points with St Mary's now, but it's still about, let's see my maths, about 8 goals worse off, but a good result still.
Yeah, good result, and 4-0 at half-time. I've got 4 of the goal scorers. Adam Pate with a couple, Sean Traylor got 2 as well. Not too sure who got the other ones, but Sam Wooland got the goal for Colby from the penalty spot. And Douglas Royals Combi have done all right, to be fair, because they beat Corinthians. They just narrowly lost to Douglas Royals, so that's 2 of your top 3. And then today a real good shift put in to beat Colby. So 7-1, bit of a surprise, but I expected Royals to win that one.
Moving into Combination 2, JCK Combination 2. 3 of the 4 matches we've got results for, and we're waiting on the 4th, which didn't kick off until 3:45. Ramsey Youth Centre showing why, I think, again, they are top of Combination 2 with a thumping victory, 5-0 away to Castletown, who are 3rd. So exactly. No slouches.
No slouches. And when you look at the half-time score, 1-0 to Ramsey Youth Centre, Castletown made them really work hard in the first half, but in the second half, whatever happened, they sorted it. Sonny Curfew with 2, Tony Corlett got 1, Brad Birchall, Danny Allison, and good performance by Ramsey Youth Centre in the end. And as you rightly say, looking worthy leaders of this league title chasing Combination 2, and with about 10 games to play, hold the nerve, and they could lift that trophy at the end.
Malou 4, Michael United 4.
Got Malou's goal scorers. Rob Mellon with 1. Tim Collister got 2. 1 was a penalty. Jordan Kreipner got 1 as well. But we haven't got Michael's scorers.
And Onchan, who are 2nd, they edged Douglas and District at 3-2. That also means they've opened up a bit more of a lead over Castletown. They've got a couple of games in hand still as well, so things looking pretty good for Onchan in 2nd place there too.
Definitely. I was watching this from a distance, but you could just see it a little bit while we were watching. Douglas Athletic, but Joe Kenyick got 1 for Douglas and District. Owen Stewart got the 2nd. Then I haven't got Onchan's goal scorers, but we've got the times. Onchan got 1 back. And then due to a problem with the nets, I think there's a hole or something, and Douglas and District had to get people up, whatever. It's just one of those things that happened. And the equaliser was scored on the 97th minute. There was quite a bit of added time because of the problem with the goals. And then 2 minutes later, Onchan scored the winner. So a lot of injury time, but the reason was because of the net. And from being 2-1 down to 3-2 win is incredible turnaround.
Very much so. Right, before we leave the football, just a couple of questions for you,
Yep.
really, Tony. This one comes from a Tony. He says, what is the possibility of starting the league in the first week of August? Get as many played whilst the days are long to avoid a backlog. You probably will get to have a couple of weeks break during the winter period.
Great idea, love it. But this year, the reason why it's now later than ever is because of the clubs. The clubs chose the start date, and I was comfortable enough with it because we're struggling now with referees at the start of the season. So, when school's back, the parents are back, so it means referees could have been away.
And players as well, I suppose. Plenty of players are missing in the summer too.
Yeah, and from what I'm hearing, people are quite happy with that. I thought to myself, right, the Saturday before Christmas and the Saturday before New Year, because Christmas Day was a Monday this year, I've got 2 games back, so I've lost one. We can deal with that. The sort of main factors this year have been the Junior Island games being so successful, and teams calling games off, which is a little bit different in the junior ones because you can't call combi games off. But then the success of the Senior Island side has caused us problems as well, and the weather. We've got the whole shaboodle right in there. But I quite like the late start because Grand Prix is a little bit messy now for us, because where we used to get that extra Saturday and they've got racing on now, so we've lost that one there. But hopefully the weather will turn shortly and we'll get that sorted out, and it should go okay. But sort of next year, I think we need to look at that Saturday before Christmas. I don't think that worked. That's my view, but by all means, if people have got their ideas, please let us know and we'll try and have a look at that one. But my personal view is, speaking to quite a few people, and with Christmas Day being Tuesday next year, then I think a lot of people will be breaking up for work on that Friday, and with firms dues and stuff, I think we need to revisit that.
Sorry, I said it was from a Tony. They were saying thanks, Tony, as in thanks to you at the end of the message. It was actually from Dario, so apologies, Dario.
Dario, yeah.
Couple of others here. Let's see, where are we? Are any of tomorrow's games going ahead?
I'll look at that tonight. There's the women's games. I've had text messages coming through with Douglas Royal. We'll try and deal with that one. The Colby Corinthians women's game will go ahead. The Douglas Royal v Peel women's game was switched to Colby.
Yeah,
it was going on at Colby because I spoke to Douglas Royal's manager, but now we've got a problem with Colby's pitches
after today's
matches,
yeah.
And the bowl slot, the Masters game between Corinthians and Colby, that's gone because Corinthians, there's 4 of my team ill and just haven't got enough players, so that was binned this morning. So I'll get home tonight, we'll have a little look what needs to be tweaked, and we'll keep you in touch. But that's where we are at the moment with the fixtures for tomorrow.
Okay, will Maloo's Woods Cup game against Pulley be on next week, or will Pulley be playing St John's?
Pulley are actually hopefully going to play St John's on Tuesday. That's the plan. We'll see how St John's pitches, and that's, if we can get that one on, then we'll put the Woods Cup game on the Sunday. But if it doesn't get on, we need to get this FA Cup game out of the way, because on the 17th of February the Senior Island team are away to play the game on the 18th, so it's messy.
Another one here,
yeah.
Advocating the possibility of a summer season, I guess. Why not start in March?
Be nice. Take it to the 15 clubs who have camping. It won't happen. I think there's too many football clubs now. I certainly know from 2 years that Corinthians, Douglas Royal have done it. We can't do without camping now to progress. So great idea, but also you've got to let the pitches in the summer. Yes, it'd be nice. The pitches are dry, they grow, but that's when everybody sort of does the work. But it's just the way the wet weather's gone, and I've heard the comments that people protect the pitches too much. I think when clubs have taken the chance, they haven't sort of got away with it. We haven't played on our pitch at Ballafletcher now for 3 weeks. We can't get any machinery on it to straighten it up.
Okay, and just 2 more. You don't really need to respond to these as such, Tony, but I just thought we could finish on a positive note. Yeah. First off, credit to Meps for what he does for the games. So there you go.
Thank you.
Also, Tony's problem is he needs to find a way to keep everyone happy. Well, you're never going to do
that. Never going to do it.
Never
I listened to Sam with the hockey, and theirs isn't as bad because I'm artificial service, but when I speak to Sam, I feel a lot happier than not.
And speaking of Sam Spooner, we'll be chatting with him, catching up with the hockey after this break. Thank you, Tony.